It's New York in the 1930s, only something is very different. The discovery of anti-gravitational technology has had a profound effect on society. No longer is the city of New York a singular island floating in the water, but instead a fragmented collection of islands that has taken to the skies. And that's not the only thing that's flying. In this world, the roads and cars fly too, all thanks to Aether, the strange new tech that has been harnessed to manipulate gravity. It's against this past-future 1930s deco-punk era backdrop in which you play the protagonist, down-and-out smuggler by the name of Gia Randazzo. This is Aether and Iron, a narrative-driven role-playing game. In this video, I'll be giving a spoiler-free review of the gameplay and story, as well as my own thoughts about it. When we meet Gia, her reputation is in the gutter. No one wants to so much as look in her direction. Job offers dried up, she's close to giving up, until she gets an all-too-easy contract from one of her shady fixers, a simple babysitting job. She's got to take an innocent rich kid from the uppers to the lowers. What could go wrong? Unsurprisingly, things do indeed go very wrong when their car is attacked en route by a shadowy unknown figure in a black hat in pursuit of the kid. And so begins Gia's descent into the worst day ever. Before we crack on with the review, I must point out that I received a free copy of this game from Keymailer. Although the game was given to me to review, my thoughts about the game are not influenced or vetted by Keymailer or the publishers. Everything you hear from me in this review is my honest opinion, and I'll do my very best to be as fair as possible when giving it. With that in mind, let me share my initial impressions about the game before I delve into some of the more nitty-gritty aspects. Right off the bat, the game looks pretty. The art is all hand-drawn, and the gorgeous backgrounds really put you in the 1930s era. The characters are detailed and the outfits are lush. It really gives this romanticized feeling of Prohibition-era America that you may know all too well from Humphrey Bogart movies and Raymond Chandler novels. The other striking feature that immediately had my attention was the soundtrack. The beautiful jazz-inspired musical numbers were composed by Grammy Award-winning and nominated musicians Christopher Tin and Alex Williamson, whose collaborative work includes Old World and the Civilization series. The music was recorded as performed by a live orchestra, and along with the art style, it really gives you this film noir private detective feel as you play. The gameplay is predominantly narrative driven, with your choices having some influence over certain outcomes. I would compare it heavily to Dispatch or Disco Elysium in this way. Choices are decided by the roll of a pair of dice, and depending on your skills you may gain bonuses to these rolls, similar to how Baldur's Gate 3 works. Being heavily story based, it relies on dialogue and voice acting, especially since the conversations aren't animated. It would have been nice to see animated conversations like the cutscenes in Baldur's Gate 3, but I understand that it's a lot of work for a small independent developer. Despite that, they do not feel boring or clunky, and that's hugely down to the excellent writing and voice acting.
I slip into one of the ritziest hideaways in the uppers, long after the rich and sauced have sauntered off to bed. The glass cage cleans up nice after hours, but no amount of soap will wash away the stink of high-class gin and imported cologne.
Conversations and choices aside, another major element of the gameplay is the car combat. The game is being sold as this futuristic version of the past with flying car combat, and honestly, it's exactly that. The turn-based car combat is quite clever and a unique concept. When I was streaming this game, everyone watching commented on a few things that really stood out to them: the art style, the voice acting, and the car combat. You control one or more cars as you battle enemies on the road, avoiding innocent bystanders and obstacles as they approach. You can strategically ram an enemy into falling debris, just shoot them with a variety of guns, or off-road them completely. And what good would a game about car combat be without the ability to modify and upgrade your car? From increasing storage space to adding armor, weapons, and even getting a new paint job, there are plenty of ways of making your vehicle your own, as well as being one heck of a mean machine on the road. I mentioned skills briefly earlier, and the skill tree of this game is quite intriguing. As you level up, you get points to assign to different areas. Each of these areas come with their own bonuses in the forms of making dice rolls easier and increasing your effectiveness in combat, whether that be reducing the damage taken, increasing your health, dealing more damage or taking extra turns, and so on. As you progress through the game, you can add more characters to your crew and can choose their upgrades as well. So you don't have to worry too much about filling Gia's skill tree completely. Other crew members can also share some of their benefits, especially when it comes to dice rolls. In terms of the storyline, Aether and Iron was pretty gripping right from the start. Full disclaimer here, I am a sucker for the film noir genre and era, so I was already going to enjoy it. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but true to form, the storyline is full of intrigue, suspense and plot twists, much like a Raymond Chandler novel. Of course, not everything is perfect with the game. There are some strange UI choices and bugs that I have come across that are worth pointing out. During combat, the screen can appear laggy at times, despite my machine being more than powerful enough to run the game. It's not a deal breaker though, as the lag doesn't impact the gameplay at all, and I could just turn down the settings a little for an improvement. Although the game states full controller support, I could not navigate the menu with a controller, which kind of means it doesn't have full controller support. I've seen that other players have had the same problem, so it's something they really do need to patch soon. Keyboard and mouse, however, works absolutely fine. On a Steam Deck or similar device, the controller doesn't seem to be a problem at all, and in fact, it runs quite smoothly. Lastly, there are places where the UI gets in the way, and I often have to hide the menus away because I cannot make the choices I want or engage in the combat properly. It's easy enough to hide the menus, but it's still something that's quite annoying to have to do. Hopefully now you have a good idea of what the game is like. The question is it for you? I think the biggest group of people this game will resonate with will be those who enjoyed games like Disco Elysium and Dispatch. It's very similar in terms of its narrative-driven, well-written, and exceptionally voiced storyline. The second group would be people who enjoyed games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition 33, where turn-based combat and a little bit of strategy is your friend. It's important to note, if you're not into combat, the game does have a story mode, where the combat's much easier and you can just focus on the storyline. Finally, I think that if you enjoy the genre, the art style, the music, and the deco-punk theme, you could find yourself really having some fun with this game. You'd get sucked in by the voice acting and the artwork, and before you know it, you'll be knee-deep in the storyline. There is a link to purchase the game in the show notes below, which will take you to the Steam page. If you're watching this review before the 13th of April, you can get it for 20% off as a special introductory offer directly from Steam. If you've played the game and would like to share your thoughts or have any questions about it, please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again next time.